Hey, it's Zero at ReviewZoneHD, and Hitman is a day one purchase. I normally don't advise something like this on a first impressions video, especially after playing only a couple hours of the game, but if you like any of the previous Hitman titles, this is a day one purchase hands down. Graphics are sick, the controls are sick, the options with how you play are sick. I've done a lot of first impressions this year, and there may have been a couple other titles that really impressed me right out of the box, but this one is just nasty, and I already love this title. Special note of mention before I dig in any deeper into this first impressions, I will be playing this game on normal during my first playthrough. Now, before I get the cheese comments and the rolling of the eyes, I did play and beat every Hitman game to date on the hardest settings, and it's something that I definitely want to do on here, and if I didn't have to cover it on my channel, I would have started off on one of the harder settings. But playing it for the first time is usually a good idea to get familiar with the stages anyways, but I'll most likely blast my way through the first run of this game so that I can get the review up for you guys before taking the more time-consuming, difficult, sneaky route. But let's go ahead and get into the first impressions. The amount of control that you have over how the missions play out is truly epic, and I decided I just wanted to go in guns blazing for my first mission, and I ended up with a really crappy score, but I wanted to test out the gunplay, and it's also absolutely amazing. When I say amazing, I should emphasize it's really impressive. The reason why I say it's so great is because of how well the aiming handles, but more importantly, how your actual shot is fired and its accuracy. If you barely squeeze down on the trigger button on the controller, your crosshair closes in to deliver a more pinpoint accurate shot. If you just smash down on the button, it becomes a bit more erratic, and this leads to some of the most realistic shooting that I've seen in a game to date. If you're not under fire and you can take your time, you can get the shot that you want. If you're in a heated gunfight, you can't just sit there and slowly squeeze down on the trigger. Again, I'm blown away from this part of the game. The menus are very slick, the text is sharp as a tack, and it all looks really nice in HD. The actual character movement and how you turn corners and attach to objects when taking cover and sneaking feels very, very fluid. There's absolutely no canned animations or feelings like you're stuck to an object. It's also a very powerful feeling just walking into the middle of a huge crowd of people and just start blasting away and watching waves of people running and taking cover as absolute chaos breaks out. And then you're trying to find your target in the middle of all that. The animations of how he walks is spot on perfect with how he was portrayed in the movie. Changing disguises is very quick and unrealistic, but it's been done the same way in all the previous games, so they stayed with what was true to the series. The maps are rather large and you have plenty of room to work with. I love the sheer amount of added objectives that affect your end of stage score, which is tossed onto the online leaderboards as well. The story is interesting, but it's a bit wishy-washy at the end of the prologue. He sort of makes a decision at the end that seems a bit unlike what you would expect a ruthless assassin to do, but at the same time, the same thing happened in the movie, so I'll have to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. The thing I always loved about the last Hitman titles is I would end up playing through them multiple times, and I would never get tired of redoing the same missions. I can't even tell you guys how many times I redid the same missions on some of the last games, because the computer AI would generally do some pretty creative different things every time that you played, and I can already tell from watching how they're reacting during the first couple missions that the AI is going to be a force to be reckoned with on here, especially on the harder settings. Speaking of the hard settings, the final difficulty that gives no assistance and basically says you're gonna die seems like it's gonna be an absolute blast after you get more familiar with the game. I'm already really amped to play this one after playing just the first couple hours. It would have to take a complete nosedive at this point to really be anything less or anything short of an epic game after everything that I've seen so far. I can't wait to play this more tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a lot of walkthrough videos this week for this game. I really want to play through this one and enjoy it and just get the review up, but we'll see how the week unfolds. Anyways, this is Zero at ReviewZoneHD, and thanks for stopping by.